So in software engineering, one term that you're gonna have to get familiar with is eventual consistency. So what exactly does this mean? Let's say you have a AWS Aurora database. For example, you can have this be in US East 1 or something, but at some point you may want stuff to perform a little bit faster for people who are on the West Coast. And so what you'll end up doing is you'll have a primary over on the East Coast, and on the West Coast, you can just go ahead and set up something called a replica. And so for example, you have a user called Bob, he can fetch that data from the replica and his latency is gonna be a lot lower than if you were to try to fetch that all the way from the East Coast. So we have Sally over here and she wants to write some data into primary, but what happens is that primary takes some time to replicate the data over to your West Coast replica. And so what happens is you have an eventually consistent system where Bob could potentially try to fetch a record that Sally has written or updated, but he's going to get an old stale copy. So this is something you need to be aware about when you're building out larger systems with multi-region setups, because you can run into some strange issues that are very hard to debug if you're not aware of these.